Culture shock. What is culture shock? So really, it's when you are in one environment and then move to another environment, or another environment is placed upon the environment you're in. So the ways you do things, the customs, the people, all that changes and you feel a shock. So I've lived in Japan. I lived in Japan for 4 years. I had culture shock. The first night I was in Japan, I'd spent a week learning Japanese, and I walked into this restaurant. I picked up the menu. Oh, that's interesting. In Japan, the menu is written in Japanese. I can't read Japanese. That's a problem. And then the waitress came up to me and said, what would I like to eat? And all I could think was, watashi wa igirisu desu, which means I'm English, which is interesting as a conversational opener, but not so great when you're in a restaurant. I didn't know how to order anything. Luckily, there was sign language. So that was my culture shock. Lots of companies go through that. So we work with Fox Studios. Fox is being bought by Disney. If you know anything about entertainment, Fox and Disney are very different companies. Disney is very organized, very corporate. It's the mouse, but the mouse wears a suit a lot of the time. Whereas Fox is a little kind of different, a little entrepreneurial, a little kind of just different. So it'll be interesting to see how those two cultures collide and what shocks happen. And that will kind of look like a whole bunch of people will leave. So the people who are going to leave maybe are the people who are the most mobile. They have the most skills. They don't have ties to a certain location, things like that. So we help with culture shock. We help people deal with the change because we can't do anything about what's happening. I can't go to Disney and say, no, I think you shouldn't really buy Fox. I think you should do something different because everybody's going to be upset. So what I can do is help people understand why they're upset and work through those feelings, because we get upset with all kinds of things. I get upset in the traffic. I get upset when my son doesn't do what I tell him to do. I get upset when I go out and find I have one black shoe on and one black shoe on, all sorts of things. And I can choose how I react to that. So culture shock is a lot about how I react to that. So that's culture shock. And in corporations, it can be very hard. And I love working with that because it's really about people accepting what's there. It's going to be different than the way you thought it was going to be. That's life, unfortunately. And you can have good things and bad things come out of that. But you just have to be able to react to that and be okay.